Greetings, welcome to Mana TV International's wonderful viewers, audience. We're glad you've tuned into Yoga, the Union, our meditation series. This is the second episode. We hope it'll become a favorite of yours and you'll tune in as we move through this steadily, developing your meditation practice. Okay, so we're going to start today. And today, let me ask you to check your posture. We're going to do a little bit about technique and explain about practicing and setting up a personal practice. Last time, I asked you to commit to meditating every single day, once or twice, to make it a real discipline, and to commit to at least 1 minute. Make the commitment something really doable for yourself so that when you sit down to meditate or stand up to meditate, we'll talk about that too. There's different ways you can approach it, or lie down to meditate. But when you do your meditation practice, you want to fulfill what you've committed, because it'll help you feel good about yourself. If you take on a big commitment, I'm going to meditate for 15 minutes every day, and you haven't been doing this, that's a big commitment. I'm going to meditate for 30 minutes. That's a big commitment. Not that it's a bad one, but for most people it's not realistic. And if you start pledging to do something that you don't fulfill, then as you approach meditation, instead of feeling good about your meditation practice and feeling good about yourself when you're meditating, you feel like, oh, I can't do that, I failed, I don't feel good. And then you approach meditation feeling bad about yourself, and that's not the way you want to relate to meditation. You want to feel good about yourself when you're meditating. So commit to something very doable. 1 minute, once or twice a day. I'm not suggesting that you only meditate for 1 minute. Meditate for longer. As long as you're comfortable, as long as you have time, go ahead. But commit to meditating for at least 1 minute, because you can do that for sure. And if you do it, you're going to really feel good about yourself, and your meditation practice will develop and get very, very rich and full for you. So right now, speaking of sitting for a minute to do some meditation, go ahead, get comfortable. You could be sitting on the floor, or sitting on a cushion, sitting in a chair. And if you're not sitting and you're not comfortable, you could be standing. That's okay too. But get the body loose, shake it around a little. Move the head and neck, loosen the neck and jaw, the shoulders, shake the arms, wrists, and fingers. Maybe twist a little to free up the spine. And now just sit still, get comfortable. One of the things you want to do is you want to lift the chest up. You'll find when you lift the chest up, the shoulders naturally settle back. The heart opens, the lungs open, you start to breathe more openly and fully. The neck elongates, the crown moves up. But one of the things that happens when you lift the chest, which you want to shift, is you take the lower back and you push it forward. That helps you lift the chest, that's okay. But once you've lifted, then soften the back. You might just loosen up the midsection without collapsing the beautiful posture that you've created. Good. Now be still. And we're just going to do a few nice breaths. Take in a breath and join me chanting Om like I did at the opening. Now watch the breath flowing. You might breathe a little more deeply just to make it easy to focus upon the breath, but you don't need to. Just focus on it, feel it. As you do this breathing, let the body soften without collapsing the posture. Just take a moment and consider what's happened in the last few moments as you took a few breaths, got your posture settled, took a few breaths, focused on the breath, how it felt. Did you let go of some of the busyness, things that you'd been thinking about? Did the body begin to settle and relax and get more easeful? Did your state of consciousness shift somewhat, moving toward the meditative state? I hope your answer to these things is yes. And that you're making note that, wow, it doesn't take long, it doesn't take much to change my state of consciousness. That didn't take long, that was simple. And that's just a small little taste, a little hint of what meditation has for you. So we're talking about meditating daily. There's some very useful tools that will help you establish a meditation practice at home. And one is to find a place that's comfortable for you and not too busy, where people aren't walking by you all the time. It could be a corner of your room, or it could be a room that's not used too much or is quiet at a certain time. And you can set up a nice little place where you can sit comfortably. This blanket I'm sitting on, it's a blanket I've used for meditation for many, many, many years. I have one at home, and I also keep this one in my car for when I'm going to events or going to places. And I use it just for that. And so it develops a resonation, a vibration, that when I come and settle on this blanket, it reminds me to settle into my meditative way, to do my meditation practice, because I've been using it. And what you use, if you use tools, here's a singing bowl, which I use at home. I'll talk about that in just a moment. It's a very valuable tool. But setting up a space that you can settle into with a few nice little, what would you call them? Just aids. They're tools. They're not requirements. You don't have to have a special blanket or cushion or seat. But if you do, and you use it for, like if you use a chair that you're going to sit and meditate in, that's fine. But if you use that chair for other things, then take a cloth or a little cushion or blanket that you don't use for other things and dedicate it to your meditation practice. Take the cloth out of your drawer, appreciate it, put it on your chair, and now your chair's ready for meditation, and you sit on it and you know that. Something else I do for meditation is I light incense. I like incense, not everyone does, but if you like incense and you light incense when you start your meditation, then you'll smell it throughout, and it will keep you focused and reminded that you're meditating now. And also, at other times when you walk into some other space where there's a scent that reminds you of your incense, it'll trigger and pull you right into your meditative state, your meditative way of being. It's a useful tool. The singing bowl here, I use it at the start of meditation when I sit because I listen to it. And my mind stops thinking about other things because I'm just listening to this. And as I do, it draws my attention inward. The physical form inward is limited, but the state of consciousness when you move inward becomes expansive and infinite. So that's what you want to do. You want to go within where you can connect with the limitless, the infinite. This draws me inward, and I really like that. And it quiets my mind because I'm listening to one thing and it starts me to focus my mind beautifully. And then I take my practice that I use regularly and I do my practice, but I'm already in a state where my mind is focused. So it's a useful tool. It's not something you need, but something you could use. It's important to know it's not something you need to practice your meditation. Because if you don't have it, if you think I have to have this, oh no, I don't have my bowl, I can't meditate, that's silly. Of course you can meditate. You don't have that tool, but that doesn't keep you from focusing on what you want to focus on and doing your meditation. Still, you can use these tools and they're useful. Now, it's worth noting if you're going to set up a meditation practice that there are these qualities of nature called the gunas. There's rajas, which is an activity, a busyness. There's tamas, which is a dullness, a lethargy kind of. And there's sattva, which is an equanimity, sort of a balanced way. Ideally, your meditation works much better when you're in a sattvic state. However, all of these states are present for each and every one of us, and there's things we can do to make sattva more dominant in our lives, and we can talk about that in another session too. But right now, understand that we'll talk a little bit about that today, but we'll talk more about it another time. But right now, understand that, let's say you've chosen some technique. You've tried some techniques and you've chosen something, and that's what you're going to do when you sit down to meditate every day. And so you come to the space that you like to meditate. You put a few nice things that you find you enjoy being with or looking at or being around, so the space is comfortable for you. And you've rung your bowl, you're there. You've even chosen a time that you like to meditate, so your body gets a biorhythm and says, oh, it's meditation time, and you do that. I was with some friends, living at their home with them, and we decided to create an evening meditation practice every evening. And they had a Maine Coon cat named Marzipan. And Mars loved it when we sat to meditate. And we did it at the same time every evening. And we went in to meditate, and Mars would come and join us and sit with us and meditate. But if we got busy in the office or the room or talking, and it was time for meditation, Mars would come into the room and meow, and would get our attention, and then look and try to draw us, and he'd walk out of the room and look over, and he would take us into the room to meditate if we didn't do it. He just loved it, and it was a pattern, a biorhythm that he had recognized and developed and loved. And the same thing happens for us. If we start to do it regularly at the same time, it makes it easier. Our biorhythm takes that on. Oh, it's time to meditate. Oh, it's time to meditate. It's another tool. If you miss that time, you can still meditate at another time. It's okay. But it's a tool you can use. You have a nice space that you've dedicated and you do it that way. You've chosen a practice that you're using. That you don't want to shift. You want to do that practice wherever you are. You have all of that going for you, and you sit down in the morning right where you do it, you ring your bell, and this morning you do it and your mind goes, man, I got a lot to do today. I got this, I got that, I got this. And yesterday I had a lot to do. And I remember what happened. I remember what she said. And that is rajas. That's that busyness, that quality of busyness. Another morning you sit down and your mind says, this is so stupid. What am I doing? This doesn't make any sense. There's no point in this. Why did I get up? You're in a tamasic state. And another morning, you'll sit up, and next thing you'll settle right into your practice, and it just flows as smooth as can be. It's very easy. You're in a sattvic place. So there's some things you can do to move into a sattvic place out of a rajasic. Just one technique to use. There's diet and things you can use, but today, just one simple thing. You can chant. Just Ram, 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 Ram. You don't have to chant that, but that's a simple chant, and it's easy and not hard to remember and easy to do. But let's say you get up and your mind's running a mile a minute. Got to do this, got to do that. And you start to chant, so, okay, I'm here to meditate. My mind's going all over the place. Yeah, I got to do that. Yeah. Ram, 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 Rama 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 Ram, Rama 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 Ram. It will quiet the mind down. It works. Now just the same, if you're in a lethargic place, a tamasic way, and you sit down and you go, oh man, you can use chanting again. Ram 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 Rama 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 Ram Ram Rama 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 Ram 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 Rama Ram. It'll pick you right up and pull you out of that lethargic place, and you'll move you into the sattvic place, and then you can do your practice. So it's a useful tool to know about to help you get into that sweet space where you can focus easily and just love your practice. So remember, you want to commit to practicing every day. Every day. Don't fail. If you do fail, just start over the next day and recommit. But practice every day for at least 1 minute, not just 1 minute, but at least 1 minute, and have a beautiful, fun time. So tune in next time. We're going to have a great session, and we'll cover more stuff and get your practice up and running. Hari Om Tat Sat Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you.